Alright folks, how you doing? Russell True Results 303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Mind, Body, Spirit, Fitness. Put in the healing back in health. Once again, at the website, sign up for the free newsletter. Check out the download, Setting Goals, Fitness and Nutrition. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The podcast is out there. Coming at you today with a video on why your family is always going to be broke and always going to struggle forever. And I'm not talking about your family. I'm talking about generations, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's about what's going to happen. It's the same thing. When you have a child, it's how is this child going to impact the world? Are they going to have a positive impact on the world? Are they at least going to be a productive part of society is what it's truly about. And that's what this video is about. It's why it's up to you watching this video to ensure that your family generations down the road, I'm talking about here, right? Generations. Your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-great-grandkids. And if you don't do this, this is why they're always going to be poor. I think we've got to understand that the main thing, people don't want to tell you in today's society of political correctness and all these things that life is difficult, life is hard, and you have to suffer sometimes. Right? And I think that's what our generation, mine even probably a little bit older, does not understand. We don't understand that somebody has to make a sacrifice. That's all it comes down to. Somebody has to make a sacrifice. And who is that going to be? If it's not you, who is it? Somebody's got to make a sacrifice. Let me say it again. Somebody has to make a sacrifice. Now, do you think all these people became rich just because dumb luck they became rich, right? We have this concept called being born into money, right? So, what are you doing to ensure that your children are born into money? Does that mean maybe everything that you save up and you work hard for at the end of your life, you shouldn't be spending it all, right? You got to leave something to future generations. And we got to leave it in stocks and bonds and all this other stuff. And you've got to be able to set guidelines and do all these things. I was talking to a financial person. They said, normally, between every 7 to 8 years, the money you have in the market is going to double. Every 7 to 8 years. Of course, I think she also said like 1 out of every 4 to 5 years, you're going to lose a bunch. But in reality, every 6 to 8 years, it's going to double. All right, so let's just do the math. We're gonna set it at 7 years, right? So pretend you die. Like for me, most likely by the time I die, if I have children, my grandchildren will probably barely be born, right? By the time I'm 34 right now, I don't see a wife or anything happening. So by the time I have kids and all this. So put it this way, right? If you can at least die and leave your family $25,000, maybe even $50,000, right? If you can leave them that, let's do the math. Every 7 years, it's going to double. 25,000, right? You die. Day 0, 25,000. Day 7, 50,000. Or year 7, 50,000. Year 14, 100,000. Year 21, 200,000. Year 28, 400,000. Year 35, 800,000. That means 35 years after you're dead, that money's worth $8,000. By that time, your grandchildren might be going to college. You have $800,000 to disperse and let your family use however they want. Same thing with your house. My mother's decided she's going to leave me her house. Great. Whatever. You know what? I told her, that's great. I'm going to put in my will that this house can never be sold. It can only be rented or lived in by a family member, but it can never be sold. So imagine that. You have these properties, you're slowly building up properties within the family. Now your family always has a place to live. That's saving anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Or they're renting it and making $1,000 to $2,000 every month. Who could not use that extra money? Setting your family up for success. Now, of course, like I said, you've got to be able to set stipulations and rules and regulations and all these things, but that's fine. If you're not going to blow it all, you need to save it and use it to help future generations. Don't be stupid and just blow it. Now, of course, sometimes we're not able to afford that. We might need that reverse mortgage or something along those lines, but it's something to think about. Somebody has to make the sacrifice. At some point back in the 1800s, somebody decided I wasn't going to blow all my money and I was going to leave it to the family. Right? That's just the way it is. That's the only way it's going to work. And as long as you're setting your children up to where, especially nowadays, where, oh my goodness, we can't pay back our college debt. If you're at least giving them enough money to where they don't have college debt, and you can instill these values within your children of, hey, saving for the next generation, there you go. You're going to build success for future generations. And what are you going to be able to do? How are you going to play that part? We did that with 25, or did I do it with 50? I did it with, let's do it with 100. I think I only did it with 25. So if we do it 50, right? Day zero, $50,000. Year 7, 100. Year 14, 200. Year 21, 400. Year 28, 800. Year 35, 1.6. See what I mean? The more you can leave and you can stack, you're going to help the future generations. So, like I said, it's just food for thought. You know, I think if you live within your means, and you just got to realize that you got to sacrifice. And I think we haven't really understood, especially in this day and age of luxury, we don't really know what sacrifice is. So, once again, I hope this helps. I hope it gives you food for thought. How can you do something that's going to set up future generations to where they're going to be able to somewhat live comfortably, but still be able to instill the values. Remember, that's the big thing. You got to be able to instill the values to where when your children receive this blessing, they don't just blow it all. So what can you do to be able to ensure that your family is set for generations to come? Think about it. Okay? So once again, don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, podcast, True Results 303. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, share and like these videos.